Gentlemen, I believe that from the moment you're born, the odds are stacked against you. I believe that in the modern world, you are set up to fail. We've got testosterone declining. We've got men being shamed for being men. Really let that sink in for a second. You are shamed for simply wanting to be a man and embrace masculine values. And now you're villainized for being a man. You're villainized for being what God set you on this earth to be. We're told that we're evil. We're told that we're toxically masculine. But quite frankly, I don't think that we are. I think we want to protect, we want to provide, and we want to fulfill our duty as a man. I believe that as men, we take great pride in the things that we can do for our sisters, for our mother, for our wife. The issue is, the modern world makes it very, very difficult with all the traps that it lays out for us. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the 5 worst habits that keep men weak. Now, the first one is extremely controversial, and that is prescription drugs. You're a little kid, you have so much energy, you have so much potential inside of you. You could become so much, be so much. And you're not meant to sit in a classroom for 6 hours being static, not moving. That's not natural, that's not right. And we build all of these unnatural structures, and when a kid does not want to follow that system, we label it as ADHD. And then we numb them with Adderall. You're feeling slightly depressed? Don't worry, don't face the issue head on. Don't tackle it. It's okay. Just, take some SSRIs and be enslaved for the rest of your life. Because Prozac will fix all of your issues. Just take the pill. Don't question it. How dare you question the science? And by the way, this is coming from someone who has had an extremely, extremely difficult life. This is coming from someone who went through an extremely difficult depressive episode in the summer of 2020, so much so to the point that I even considered deleting myself and not thinking, maybe I should do it. Once it gets scary is once you ask yourself, how am I going to do it? And you know what I did? I consulted my most trusted advisors. I consulted my most trusted masculine role models, and I worked through it naturally. I worked through it by completely cutting out alcohol, completely cutting out stimulants like caffeine, going through a process of an elimination diet, and also doing a lot of meditation, alone time, trauma work, just sitting with myself, working through things. But the modern world will tell you that that's stupid because you could have just taken a pill. Just like with sleep, if you're having a difficult time sleeping, don't bother to try to address the underlying health issues. Just take a Xanax. Ladies and gentlemen, they built the jail cell and you walked straight into it. And unfortunately, the worst and saddest thing to see about this whole situation is most of the time, it's not even these kids or these teenagers' fault. Most of the time, it's the fault of the parents because they do not educate themselves on what these teenagers, these kids are going through. And then they pretty much enslave their children for the rest of their life because they teach them from a young age, if you have a problem, don't worry about it. Prescription drugs will fix all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, these big pharma companies are not your friend, and you must understand that. And look, I may not be a doctor, but this is just my viewpoint. I genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart that you must do everything in your power, maybe not to get fully off your prescription meds, but start weaning off of it as much as humanly possible. I want you strong, I want you awake, I want you living and not being a half-dead zombie slugging their way through life. Now, the next habit that keeps men weak is prawn, Instagram, and OnlyFans. And of course, prawn is the most aggressive and the worst version and the worst manifestation of this problem. But then again, you look at Instagram and it's pretty much halfway there at this point. Now listen, of course, some people do use Instagram for business, but that's a very small minority. It's a very small minority that actually creates on social media and uses Instagram for business purposes. Outside of that, you need to understand that Instagram is the biggest dating app on earth. It is an endless cesspit of sexual images, but then again, at least it's nowhere near as bad as OnlyFans. At least it's nowhere near as bad as giving up your hard-earned money, simping, and lining the pockets of girls that will never even acknowledge your existence. And here's the issue with, and it sounds very crass, beating your meat. It signals to your body and your mind that you have accomplished something when quite frankly you have not. You're not where you want to be. You didn't go to the gym that day. You didn't go out and conquer your career. You didn't do any of the things that traditionally you would have to do in order to get the reward of a sexual partner. So please, gentlemen, I understand that it is very difficult with the modern world that we live in, but stop giving away one of your most powerful life forces to just some random screen. Now, the next habit to keep men weak is current events and news, and I'm telling you, it is done deliberately. They plant things, and by the way, it's usually around the same time that they are passing some bill or some law that is draconian, that is tyrannical, that is pushing the world in a worse direction. And just around that time, they'll have some new celebrity drama or some new event, something to keep you distracted, anything for you to argue about. Us versus them. And this sounds very, very harsh, but the worst part is they want you to believe that your opinion matters when, quite frankly, it doesn't. Because listen to me, your wife still works when she doesn't want to. Your mother is in an old person's home rather than living in a massive mansion with you and the rest of your family. And instead you want to spend all your life and energy talking about Russia versus Ukraine. When you live in the West, it has nothing to do with you. Shame on you. Listen to me very clearly. This is going to be extremely harsh, but you need to hear it. The only way you can make a change in this world is through influence or money. And if you have neither, then shut the fuck up and save yourself first. And once you save yourself, then save your family. And once you save your family, save your friends. And once you've done that, save your community. And if you have checked off all of those boxes, then and only then you can hear about the current events in the news and actually make an impact. But until you've done all of that, stop arguing about useless stuff that you will have no change, no effect on. If you want to stay poor, keep watching the news. News is propaganda, and news is simply there to keep you arguing about the same old shit. Because quite frankly, why do you care about Qatar and their laws? Your mother still works. She's not retired. She should be enjoying her last few decades on this earth. And instead you want to sit there and write stupid tweets about Qatar and all of these geopolitical issues. Shut the fuck up. Shame on you. King, wake up. You have real work to do. And this applies to YouTube, by the way. If your YouTube subscription box or your recommended channels are all of these reaction channels and these hit piece channels that are perpetuating everything that's wrong with the world, well then quite frankly, you have an issue. You need to cut out the noise. Listen, if your friend wants to have a heated argument about whether Will Smith should have slapped Chris Rock and your mother still works, politely excuse yourself from the table and get back to work. And if you're on YouTube, get the home feed blocker. You need 3 to 5 quality channels that you follow because quite frankly, everything else is noise. Now, the next habit keeping men both weak and poor is video games. And I'm gonna sit here and you can tell me all of your excuses and all the reasons why. Please go for it. You can write in the comments about how it helps you socialize and how it helps you relax. Gentlemen, everyone gets their sense of self-worth from somewhere. So why not get it from the real world? We are literally living in Sims. You can continuously wake up every single day and upgrade your character. I really want you to zoom out and look at yourself from the third perspective while you play video games. Just really imagine it in your head. Do you look heroic? Do you look like the hero in your own story? Now compare the way that you look in the third person when you hit a crazy workout, or when you get an amazing few hours of work in that's gonna further you to your goals. And now that is something to be proud of. You need to be the hero in your own story. I need you to start living as if God is watching at all time, because quite frankly, He is. And there's no way that you can tell me, if you're being truly honest, that video games make you a stronger person. Now, last habit is poor sleep hygiene. Listen, when I was building my first business at the age of 16 to take care of me and my mom, I was still in high school. So I was getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night on average. And it wasn't ideal, but I did what I had to do. My only regret is that I didn't focus on the quality of my sleep more. So when it comes to sleep hygiene, and that's really what it is, hygiene, you need to focus on the easy wins. So remove all the lights from your bedroom. Try to get blackout curtains. Any little red dot or anything emitting light, put black tape over it. And if you still have too much light coming in, well then consider getting a high quality sleep mask. It will suck for the first few days and weeks, but in the long run, it's gonna be worth it. My next recommendation is a weighted blanket, preferably something that's 10% your body weight. I optimize all areas of my sleep. The weighted blanket was the one thing I actually didn't try for years, and once I implemented it, I immediately noticed a big increase in my deep sleep. So give it a try. You can find most weighted blankets out there for $30, $40, $50. Try it out, give it a couple weeks to get used to it, and if you don't like it, who cares? It was $50. The temperature is also a massive thing. I know some people like to sleep with it a little warmer, but just try to continuously decrease the temperature and make it colder and colder. The colder the room, the better your sleep is gonna be. The next thing is trying to remove all blue lights at night. I know that it's nighttime. I've got this little light dome and that's not ideal, but usually the last few hours before bed, I'm wearing blue light blockers. As a lot of you guys know, I ran an e-commerce company called Gadget for a couple years. We made these incredible blue light blockers. I kind of had to put that to the side in 2022, so that way I could really focus on my software company. But in 2023, and in fact, in the next few months, we've just ordered $500,000 worth of stock. So the Gadget blue light blockers will be coming back very shortly, and those were absolute fan favorites. But if you don't want to wait a few months, or you just want to use a different brand, there's many other brands out there. Really just take your pick, whatever you like the most. And last thing is a nighttime routine. Everyone talks about a morning routine, but no one focuses on a nighttime routine, because a nighttime routine really sets you up for having good quality, deep sleep. And if all this sounds stupid or over the top to you, you know what sounds really stupid to me? Letting someone else get 2 to 3 times the deep and REM sleep. It's not a matter of how much time you spend in bed. The most important thing is how much deep and REM sleep do you get. So if all of this sounds a little intense or a little too much, okay, you have your fun. Go to bed and spend 8 hours in your bed, and let some other person spend 6 hours and get twice as much quality sleep as you, which means they're gonna have significantly more energy, more testosterone, more ability to build and maintain muscle. All of these benefits just because you thought that sleep hygiene wasn't important. My friends, there are traps absolutely everywhere that you look, and you need to sidestep them so that way you can keep trudging along to your mission. So I know that I've been a little harsh with you, but it's only because I believe in you and I'm rooting for you.